Not the footy show.
I'll talk to you. Can you send everyone else away?
Go! Back. What's going on?
You've been sent off. He called me an effing then, so he can go.
Once again, crisis has brought out the best in us.
G'day, league lovers. Welcome to episode 219 of Not the Footy Show. I'm back, baby. Mr. DC is back. WD Nicholson's been here the whole time. Same with Rob Cox. And tonight, what are we going to be talking about, WD?
I don't know, but you nailed that intro, mate. So I can't add anything to that. Rob, can you add anything to that, mate?
That was the best intro you've done all afternoon, man. That was really good.
Well, I thought
Take number 50.
part of the intro is meant to be introducing what's going to be on the show tonight, and you guys just ruined it.
No, it's not what we're doing.
I was on a roll.
I heard during the week, actually, that we're quite boring, Rob.
Who said that?
This is what the rumour came out, that we were like the most boring NRL podcast on the interwebs.
Yep. We're so boring that DC demanded to join us this week.
He did. He may have been
boring.
I don't know if I said boring. I said you guys agree with each other too much. You need a bit of controversy. You need someone in here who can, like,
Then why did we get you?
throw a tantrum and give some alternative. Half the time, my opinion is different because I just haven't been researching it the same as you guys. So, you know.
Oh, that's NRL Twitter, basically.
I'm
So you've nailed it.
Well, I'm the voice of the common man who doesn't know everything that's going on in rugby league. And you need that every now and then on your podcast because
We so need it, Rob.
you guys sort of fly over the head of too many people out there. And
We're highfalutin, is what he's telling us.
yeah. You need to come back to the common man.
He's still being critical, isn't he? He's giving us.
Yeah, very much so.
Yes,
I gave him a cookie tonight. It's because I didn't feed him. Anyway, after the break here on the Footy Show, we'll get into episode 219. We've got AFB, Joey L, the road trip to Canberra with these three niff-nuffs, and our round 9 tips, etc., etc. So join us for a bit more, Mr. DC, bringing just so much interest to this new episode of Not the Footy Show, episode 219.
Not the footy show.
I'm back, baby!
Very heated in the moment, sort of acted out within a split second. Think back now, I shouldn't have said what I said, but, I let my emotions get the best of me, and if I could take it back, I probably would have.
We understand there was some further words spoken in the dressing room or the tunnel area. Can you take us through that?
Yeah, I remember walking back into the sheds, and I forget who was in there already, but sort of speaking there loudly. Wasn't aware that the refs were in the tunnels, and they must have heard me say what I said in the sheds, but it wasn't. Didn't say it directly to their face, it was just sort of me venting out loud in the sheds, and they happened to hear it. I went and approached the ref, and I said I was very sorry. Obviously, it's very unprofessional of me to act out the way I did, and obviously I made myself look bad, the club look bad, and it's not the type of person I am. So yeah.
Do you understand your choice of words are considered highly offensive to people living with disabilities?
I do now. At the time, I didn't. Growing up, I sort of used the word differently, not knowing what it actually meant. Now that I know what it means, I'm very apologetic. I did not mean any harm, or I didn't mean to use it in a derogatory type of way to offend anyone. If I have offended anyone, I am very sorry. Anyone with disability, I do not make fun of any disabled people. And I'll be working closely with the club over the next couple of weeks that I'm suspended to offer my support to anyone that was offended by my words, and hopefully can make amends for what I said.
We have done a podcast on Tuesday night. It's the 7th of July, and the first topic that we went into was Addin Fonua-Blake's comments, the 2 comments that he made to the referee on the weekend. Since we have recorded and we've displayed and offered some opinions on the subject, Addin has actually released a video on the Manly website where he's answered a bunch of questions relating to his comments, particularly the follow-up one, which has landed him in even more hot water. Now, our viewpoints were informed on everything that was said before these comments from Fonua-Blake, and I played them just now before this section. Gents, obviously your viewpoint was before an hour ago. Has it changed at all before people listen to what you're about to say in regards to Fonua-Blake? Dave?
I think the fact that he's come out and apologised is, it's what you're supposed to do. But when they do it in that press conference way, it's very hard to take it.
So there's a media manager feeding questions to him, and then he's answering. Yes.
And even the questions that are coming through are a bit, I don't know, they were sort of stagnant or whatever. I think everyone agrees. You just don't say that. You just don't do that. It's just wrong.
Yep.
And really, that's where it's got to stop, doesn't it? That's it. It's wrong.
Just admit that it's wrong.
Yeah.
Okay, Rob.
I totally agree. I still think what he said was in bad taste. I still believe that it was wrong. I'm glad that he has showed some sorrow for what he said. I'm not entirely sure that he's sorry for what he said, or if it's because he got caught saying what he said. Look, it's a high pressure situation for not only the referee, but the players. They've just worked their butts off for 80 minutes, and to feel, whether you're ripped off or not, to feel like you've just been shortchanged can make you explode. But hopefully whatever sentence he gets will be enough for him to consider his words next time, and hopefully for some juniors who may be watching and understand that they too should choose their words wisely and not be derogatory towards people with disabilities. So,
and even
it's just that those words just aren't very nice, to refer to someone who's
and we go into this in detail in our next segment. Dave, any last comments before we play that?
Yeah, in general, you should be trying to control your temper anyway. In general, you shouldn't be, cutting loose at the referees. And in general, you shouldn't be using those kind of words to put someone down. The crux of what I didn't like about his public statement tonight via video is that there's this classic line that gets put out there, and this is the one. I didn't mean to use it in a derogatory way to offend anyone, and if I offended anyone, I am very sorry. Just say you're sorry. Say that it actually it cuts you, that you've made a mistake. But to put the little clarifier at the end, I'm glad he's done it, but the clarifier just it takes the wind out of it as far as I'm concerned. And you'll hear what we think about it coming up on the rest of the episode. Hope you enjoy it. But yeah, it's a pretty serious topic that I don't think we've heard the end of, because the CEO of the NRL, Andrew Abdo, has said that there will be further punishment coming for Addin Fonua-Blake. Enjoy the rest of the show. Here's episode 219 of Not the Footy Show.
Not the Footy Show.
Okay, we're back, and it's time to get stuck into the title of this podcast, which is Once a Grub, ... How does that finish, Dave? Generally, that when someone says once a grub, how does it finish? That saying?
Once a grub, 2 weeks later, a butterfly.
That wasn't what I was looking for. Rob, you might have a go.
Once a grub, always a grub. How about that? Does that sound about right?
Yeah, you've played that beautifully. We've got a couple of those, unfortunately, out of round number 8, and that is Addin Fonua-Blake on Sunday afternoon when he unleashed a tirade on referee Atkins, and he's been given 2 weeks suspension that he's accepted. He was facing 3 if he went to the judiciary and fought it. Now, we're starting with him and not Joey. We'll get to Joey in a sec, but AFB has got an interesting backstory, to say the least, and that's as far as we'll go with that. But in the last 12 months or so, he's definitely, what's the word? He hasn't endeared himself to opposition fans. Is that a fair statement, Rob?
I think he likes to get under their skin, mate. I actually think he's a fantastic player. I think he's one of the best front rowers in the comp. And look, I think he overstepped the line on the weekend. I think he would even probably say that. But you know, I think he was unwittingly kind of provoked a little bit. I don't know if he was A lot of people would blow up in that situation, even pros like NRL players, you know. And look, it's not the first time this year that that Manly have maybe been given the rough end of the pineapple from the jurisdiction, namely the referees and the bunker. So it's a difficult one. He shouldn't have said what he said. What he said was out.
That's the issue that's really at play here. It's funny because you know that players in your games, the obscenities are hurled in the general direction of referees at different times. It's a matter of how it's linked to the second word generally. And in this particular...
Surely the ref makes his decision each time about what...
Yeah, something wrong is different to
Yeah.
you're a something. There's a real difference in that.
Yeah.
And as you mentioned there, Rob, that's the point I'm going to jump on. We led the podcast the last time Manly apparently got dudded with Tommy Trebojevich's reaction right after the game to that forward pass. And he said, that's footy. Now, he didn't run at the referee and call him a something.
He was angry at the time, but then afterwards he can't.
He couldn't believe it. But this goes back to what I'm talking about with regards to the name of the pod. If you've got this in you, you've got this in you. And you heard Des the other night afterwards say, that's not in his nature and, you know, he shouldn't have said it. And at least Des was open about the fact he shouldn't have said it. But there is something come out today, Rob. Dave didn't know about it. Do you know about the second thing that's been said?
No, I don't. And who's it by, though? Is it by Jake or is it by Aden?
I don't know.
For Fanua Blake, there is allegation today by Ray Hadley that on the referee's report, get this, that he has called him a something, and I use this word as respectfully as possible, spastic is the word that is used in regards to Atkins. And that wasn't known apparently when the charges got laid, and Volandis has come out and said that he is going to throw the book at him as a result of this. Now, you didn't know about that. Dave didn't know about that. How does this make you guys feel if he's, I guess, doubled down on this, lack of a better way of putting it, stereotype in terms of an insult? And that's the issue here, is that he didn't just say, you're wrong. He said these words. How do you guys both feel? Dave, you can start.
All right. Well, you know I'm going to be a bit controversial here. I personally don't care. I understand that there are people out there that do care, and I understand that it's not the nicest word, but it's also just for one. I'm going to start using. Sometimes people just use colourful language just because they want to insult someone, and it's not meant to be. What's the word? Derivative? It's not meant to be bringing anyone down in any way. It doesn't matter if it hurts people. It hurts people, but. Tell him he's not allowed to say it, but don't overreact to it. Don't make it out as though he's used. It's the same as, you know, a C word or something.
This
like
is
that.
worse, man.
You reckon?
This is worse, Rob. I reckon it's worse. I can't agree with you at all.
Well, the reports are right, and I'm not going to mix my words up. The reports are initially he called Grant Atkins. He said he was pushed in the back. You effing retard. Okay, that's apparently what the first thing he said to, you know. Referee Atkins was. Now, like you say, he's doubled down and he's referred to the referee as somebody, you know, who suffers from maybe a horrible illness. I agree with Dave in a way. He's not saying that's what you are. He's
found a name to call the guy.
I think
that doesn't make it okay.
It's not good. It's not good either way. Yeah. But look, the frustration, you know, some people handle frustration differently. Some people throw their toys out of the pram, like Aden did on the weekend, you know, and he needs to watch his mouth going into the future. If Volandis said he's going to throw the book at him, I dare say that Aden may sit down for a month or so on this. And I'd hate to see that because, you know, he hasn't really hurt anyone. He hasn't taken a player out off the ball. He hasn't punched anyone in the face. He hasn't intimidated a referee, you know. But what he did still is not right, and he will get a punishment for it. I can't see him getting off if the chairman of the board has said we're going to throw the book at him.
Yeah. On top of the original charge, yeah. Dave?
But is everyone upset about the fact that he's disrespected a referee, or is everyone upset about him using that kind of language?
It's
I-
both, and the kicker in this is the length. It's the length. I disagree with you completely about whether he meant it as derogatory or not. Absolutely, he meant it as derogatory. He wouldn't use it. If he just said you are
No.
something wrong, I'm with you about the frustration. But you can't say this word and just say, oh, it's just a word I come up. I can't agree with you at all there.
No, I hear you. It's an insult because of what it means, because of what you're referring to. But if you said you effing idiot, would everyone be just as upset?
He may have been sent off,
everyone-
but it wouldn't be the same deal. No.
Yeah, he wouldn't have been. He wouldn't be in as much trouble
No, not
as
chance.
he is now. I don't think he would have been. I think he could have probably called him an effing anything other than a minority group or a group of people that may be suffering from an illness, and probably not have felt this kind of weight on him. Don't worry, DC. I'm kind of with you. I got a foot in each camp here, and it's not. I'm not being agreeable because I know you think agreeable's been boring, but
Yeah,
I
it's
do.
boring. I'll say that much.
I do understand your argument, mate. And some people are particularly thin-skinned about it, but as an organisation, I think they probably should be a little bit thin-skinned about it, given that it's not something that you want your 10-year-old boy running around and calling people. And you know, we know how juniors can see, you know, one thing on the field on the weekend, the next weekend they go off and emulate it. And I would dare say that if a junior was to refer to a referee in that such way, they'd probably get a year off. And I know that when junior organisations punish you, they will punish you hard. And
The Landis mentions that.
Does he?
He refers very much to this is what could be said on the weekend as a result. So, and this is after the Hadley report. So where we're at, and this is the second part of this, AFB, we know what he is and we know how he's reacted here. What really took the cake for me was the statement that he released.
I haven't seen it.
The club released on his behalf. They've written something for him and he's then been attributed to it.
Yep.
What was hard to stomach wasn't the fact that they said that he went into the rooms and apologised afterwards. Well done. I got no doubt. That's good. But it's a written statement. It's not him standing there reading something out. I could have lived with him standing there reading it out, but this is purely just a written statement that has so much club speak in it is ridiculous. I'm not saying that he didn't necessarily mean that he was, what's the word?
Yeah, but you can...
He wasn't...
Contrite.
I'm not saying he was, but you've got to say that
But there's
on
the
camera.
element... Yeah, that's right. The element's there for people to think that it might be.
And that's the thing
You're better off doing it
that
on
struck me about it. It's just like, given he's crossed this line, and he has crossed a line, he has to say it publicly. He can't just say it as a statement. And what is going to be very interesting is if this next one sees him get 2 more weeks or 3 more weeks or 4 more weeks, not only is he going to have to stand up and actually say something publicly, and if they send another statement out that's written, honestly, get your head read. But the biggest thing they have to do, and it's got alluded to in the article that was written around the Hadley comments, is he's going to have to do a lot of community service now. He's going to have to be very, very proactive in regards to that. And it could be the best thing for him. As much as I've labelled this podcast once a grub, always a grub, maybe it's what he needs. Maybe he needs that reality check.
Is it going to make up for it? Is community service going to all of a sudden mean that...
We've got to hope that he can change. That's my view on it. Anyway, there's got to be something out of this. Just that written statement's not enough.
Does it make him a grub or does it make him a hothead?
Well, I'd said there's a history here of a few things, especially in the last 12
Has he done
months.
this before? Has he called referees? Has he been in trouble?
He hasn't been charged on this, but you can tell. Look, I couldn't say in round XYZ of 2019 this happened, but
Right.
I've seen enough football of him playing to know that he's not exactly the cheeriest chap with referees.
The players say this type of stuff to each other on the field and even worse. And does it get reported?
That doesn't make it right, mate.
I know for a fact that players do this.
Yeah.
Okay? I'm not saying that I endorse it, but I know for a fact that players that would be something that a player would call another player, 100%.
If it got reported that a player had called another player that, would the NRL react just as strongly because it got reported, and therefore it brings the game into disrepute,
See,
and therefore someone's got to
catch you on this. Reported is a strange way of describing what happened the other night. This is the end of the game. A decision goes against Manly, and he runs at the referee and says it to him. That is different than it just being reported that was said.
No, I thought that was in the tunnel as they were going.
No, this is on field.
Okay.
There's actual footage. There's footage from Northwestern camera looking across as they're walking off, and you can see Adam saying something. I'm no lip reader, but I imagine if you kind of had a hint on what he said, you could probably figure it out. Look, I don't think
the referees at any time is you can't. It's got to be brought down hard.
Well, let's wrap up this part of it first. The decision. And this is the key part in the defence of he's frustrated. Okay, as far as I'm concerned, this is the key part of the whole thing. This referee who he went at actually calls out that it should be a penalty when he referred it to the bunker. The reason he referred it to the bunker, Dave, is that he said, "Is it a penalty try?" I've said I've got interference back in further up the play.
Yeah, it's a good point.
So when Maxwell, who's Jared Maxwell, the video ref, made the decision that was nothing in it, he said there's nothing in the lead up. The players, in their moment of madness, actually didn't realise that the bloke who was actually on their side actually the one that sent it upstairs. And Maxwell's got his job, by the way.
Does that mean that they were more wanting?
Sorry, we'll say that again. What, Warwick? Say that again, mate.
Maxwell's doing 3 games this weekend. He hasn't been punished.
Right. Look, I personally think Maxwell got it wrong. Well, that's my personal opinion. I think it should have been a penalty, and I wonder if there is any avenue going forward that it happens at full time. I wonder if there's any avenue going forward for a referee who's in control of the game. The bunker's not in control of the game, so we're told. Could the referee have said, "Yep, it's no try. I'm going back up there and I'm going to award a penalty"? Does he have the power to do that?
I thought he could.
It's a breakdown of the system.
Yeah.
Okay,
he felt like he couldn't because he felt like the video referee was the one that was going to make the full decision there, and the video referee made his decision, and so therefore the on-field referee couldn't.
Well,
turn
as far
against
as I'm concerned, the bunker should only be able to adjudicate on a try, not on, and if there's a foul in the try, if there's a penalty in the try. But I would have thought, and I don't know because I'm no qualified referee, but I would have thought that the referee in control of the match could then have said, "Okay, I'm looking at the board. It says no try, but I know there was a foul up there, and I'm going to go and blow a penalty right there because I'm in control of this game."
I think he can, but the key part of this is that Maxwell categorically says there's nothing in the lead up. So he overrules that decision from Atkins.
It's just interesting when the referees do watch the big screen. They get to see it. If he decides that there's something in it, I would have thought that
the pushing the back happened, and then another player came in from the side and knocked him out as well.
No, it was
that was concurrent. Like that kind of happened.
As the push went in, Funa went into the fullback.
Yeah,
that was the collision that you saw.
I still think it was a penalty. I honestly think it's a penalty,
and it was a penalty that really mattered.
It was a penalty that, well, it's a sideline penalty that gives them an opportunity to level the score. So you're right, it does matter.
And they watch it on replay, and no one of the 5 or so officials on the night.
It's the one. Come up with Annesley.
But that's the problem.
Annesley is saying way too much in these briefings that happen on Mondays because he gets himself in trouble by over trying to explain things. But he basically said he disagrees, and it was a matter of opinion, which is interesting because
he disagrees.
He thinks it should have been a penalty, but he hid behind the whole. It's a matter of a difference of opinion as to why, which is basically every decision. So if they've ever apologised for anything ever,
it's a difference of opinion.
It's a difference of opinion. So anyway, we've got to wrap this part of the show up.
Annesley agrees with us.
Correct. We're going to speak about somebody else that had a bit of a brain snap after the break here on The Footy Show.
Not The Footy Show.
I think he takes out. Oh, yeah. Geez, he comes up with some dumb plays, BJ.
Simbin.
There you go.
Joey Simbin.
Who wants to argue that call?
Okay, we're back. It's episode 219. Dave Chapman in the vicinity, 1.5 metres away. And Rob Cox in cosy Camden. How cold is it out there tonight, bud?
It's not actually. I've got a fire going, mate. Hopefully, it's not engulfed my lounge room by now. Since I walked away from it. No, I've got the fires on, and I'm staying nice.
Well, you haven't lost control, but someone who did lose control on Saturday night was Joey Leilua. We know he plays the game on the edge for a bunch of reasons. And we know that a few clubs have given up on him over the years. He landed at the Tigers this season. Curtis Scott traded for Joey Leilua. Quickly, who's winning that trade right at the moment, Tigers or Raiders?
Curtis Scott's a gun. Didn't you see him on the weekend?
Rob?
Look, I don't know if it are great signings, to be honest.
No, but who's doing better?
Rugby league wise?
Scott
Scott.
I think Scott by about that much.
Okay, so Curtis Scott named in jersey 21 this weekend has got Joey Leilua covered. I like it. But Joey Leilua, it's all right, Dave.
Let's leave it.
He has.
Do you call it a brain snap, or did you call it? Because it wasn't. It wasn't a brain snap.
It's concurrent with what he's done in the past.
He took his moment to have a go at the guy that he wanted to have a go at. I didn't see when that happens, I like to rewind and go, what happened to make Joey want to get him like that? Because it was a square up.
No,
there was something.
It was the fact that Luciano his brother got hit in the head.
It wasn't the same guy. He was trying to get square with Appy Coruscant.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Dylan Edwards.
No, that was ages before.
Yeah, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah.
That's what he's Edwards
right.
did nothing to him.
So
Edwards
no one was running at Joey. Joey couldn't run at Appy. So when the opportunity came in that split second...
Was that the first time the opportunity came?
To lay someone out, yeah. He'd run pretty hard into people. He'd run into tackles and stuff since. But when that happened, basically, we know what happened. You saw it on the game when you were watching people. If you're listening, he runs into Dylan Edwards when Dylan Edwards doesn't have the ball. It's on the line. Someone else has got the ball about 1.5 meters away, social distancing. And Joey cocks the arm and takes off Dylan Edwards' head.
Coat hanger.
What I'm getting at here is what we talked about via text, Rob.
Mm.
If that is not a send-off in today's rugby league, what more did he have to? Did he have to bend the elbow and then make connection? Is it the fact that his arm was open? Is that why it's not a send-off? Because this is more connected to a wider discussion that you and I had on Saturday night. Yeah. But the referee in that instance lost control of the game, and you saw it coming from a mile.
And players get sent off for a professional foul that's holding someone down too long.
This is foul play, professional foul, but yeah.
Yeah, but it's a stiff arm to the head versus just trying to win the game by holding someone down too long. It's ridiculous.
It's remarkably different. And Rob, you were there. You saw the game unravel, and
I think the referee did lose control of the game a little bit. For one reason or another. Joey Leilua should have been sent from the field, just as much as Addin Fonua-Blake was. It was off the ball. It was late. It was on a player that didn't have the ball at all. And it was, it was violent. What do you got to do? So the thing that annoys me about plays like this, things that happen like this, is Kikau ran in to protect his little mate. Now, if Kikau had punched him in the jaw and broken his jaw, he'd probably get 4 weeks for it.
And he would have given the same 10 minutes that Joey would have had been given.
Well, I think maybe. But, I mean, it was ridiculous. I think he should have been sent from the field. And I don't know what his record's like, but they're saying he's probably going to get 4 weeks, or did he get 4 weeks?
He took 4 weeks. Yeah, 4 weeks.
He took 4 weeks.
I think it was 6 if he challenged.
It was a brain explosion, and he's done this a few times before. I mean, he played for your club for a while, didn't he? I mean, and look, I've got a little. I'm not sure whether this is the right. I've got a little issue with Luciano as well, because I really don't think that Appy got him that good. I don't think, it's hard to tell sometimes on the field when you're back a little bit. But from the replays, Luciano looked like he first of all went down, grabbed his jaw and yelled, and then was knocked out.
He definitely lay prone there for a long time.
From nearly every knockout I've seen, you're knocked out. If you're out, you're out.
Yeah.
You don't yell first, grab the jaw, then go to sleep. If you're knocked out, you're knocked out. Generally on the first hit, you're knocked out. So I guess what I'm saying is I believe, my personal opinion is I think Luciano might have been milking a little. But then when the Medicab came on the field, I think he may have known that he overstepped the milk.
Yeah.
they were getting the penalty. I mean, it was an accidental
And that
high
was
tackle.
announced really early on by referee Adam G that the penalty was going to the.
I was watching Joey in the background with his teammates. He was blowing up Deluxe, and he was really blowing up. I wish there was some footage that you could find of it, but he was talking to the teammates in the background as brothers laying on the ground, Luciano's laying on the ground, and he was fired up. He was, I could see words to the effect of, "We're going to get this guy," and he was really blown up. Then he walked over. Once Luciano had been on the ground for a couple of minutes, he walked over, and then Appy went and had a look, and it almost flared up there. I don't think there was much in the Coruscant tackle. I think Luciano did go down, went into the tackle, and the arm was swinging a little bit. It wasn't like the fist was clenched and it was, it wasn't a stiff arm across the jaw. It was a flick. I mean, it was really not a whole lot in it. But anyway, my opinion is Joey should have been sent from the field. I don't really care what week penalty he got.
Are you fine with 4 weeks though? You're fine with 4 weeks?
I don't know about his record, so I don't know how 4 weeks is, I guess, for what didn't injure another player. I mean, it didn't injure Edwards. I would say that's on the heavier end of a non-injury kind of a contact. But sorry, what was that?
It shouldn't matter.
Oh, it does.
I know it does, but it shouldn't. It really annoys me. Yeah. It doesn't matter what the outcome was. It matters what your intent was.
Well, I guess looking at it, Billy Joe Joseph, whatever he calls himself these days, is probably 25, 30 kilos heavier than Dylan Edwards. And I think if he really wanted to, I think he could have almost taken his head off.
Take a cruise.
You know what? At times I've watched him over his career, Joey, and I've thought, geez, you're a good player. And then there's other times I've watched him over his career, I think to myself, man, you do some stupid stuff. And I think he's got the ability, the footballing ability and the physical ability to be one of the best centres in the world, like he proclaimed to be at the start of the year. But I just don't know if he can keep his head on long enough.
Have they ever played together in the same team in the lower grades?
No, this is the first time because Joey's quite a bit older than Luciano.
And is it just a case of some brothers just shouldn't play together because they're going to get emotionally upset?
You've got a brother. Rob, you don't have a brother, do you?
No.
I'm aware of.
Yeah, but there's other brothers in the comp that don't react to that.
Dave, ask yourself the question. If your brother got knocked out, hit high, by Appy Coruscant, how would you want to react to that? Would you be looking for blood?
No, because it's rugby league.
You just don't like your brothers that much, that's all right?
I love them. But if you're near a pub, you're staying tall with your mates and your brothers. But if you're playing rugby league, it's part of the game.
I've seen a few brothers do that. Sam Burgess was very protective of his twin brothers.
The number one is when Glenn Stewart and Adam Blair are having a go at Brookvale Oval. And Brett Stewart
runs over.
And he just comes in and takes him off.
I didn't get anything for that.
No, just emotional.
Warning.
Wasn't there an
liability is the word.
Absolutely. And if he's going to play with his brother going forward, you just need to, you just got to let it go. I mean, he didn't get killed on the field. He didn't get really maimed. And I just don't know if Luciano did anyone any favours by, laying down on the ground, milking for a little bit longer than he needed to. I really don't think, didn't look like there was a whole lot in it. I hope I'm wrong.
Question for both of you. Do you think Michael Maguire, who has been very tough on his team and has made a statement, he's dropped Benji Marshall for losing the Titans game or whatever the reason was. Do you think he sends a message to Joey in 4 weeks' time by making him miss another week?
I think he might if whoever replaces Joey does a good job.
Yep.
Yeah. But that's
is it predicated on form though? Like, do you think Michael Maguire is sitting there going, "That's unacceptable," and he's got to learn? I reckon there's a chance.
It'd probably do a bit of good.
He may well, mate. I just think it'll be. Does he need him back straight away? I don't know if you can premeditate this and think, okay, I'm going to give him another week no matter what, because he may need him back.
Who's the likely replacement?
Cheekham's coming in the centres this week.
He's a good player.
And he's the kind of player that just needs an opportunity, really.
I don't think he's a genuine centre though. I mean, he's an edge back row, but I mean, there's only one difference in him these days. But he's a good player. He's a very good player, and he always makes a difference when he comes on the field. So he's going to get a chance. That's good for him.
See what happens. All right, that's the grub factor taken care of here on Not the Footy Show. And look at that beard. There's a lot of grub sitting right next to me. Well, it's 1.5 metres apart, of course. We're going to come back with our recap of the road trip to Canberra that happened last Friday between these three nuffers.
Mm-hmm.
Not the footy show.
Whitehead's cactus in the middle.
Come on!
Bomb. Just kick it out. Just kick it out. Kick it out. Oh. Oh. We'll take it. Wasn't pretty in the end, but we'll take it.
Okay, we're back. It's episode 219, Not the Footy Show. Rob Cox in Camden, Dave Chapman somewhere here, and I'm Warwick Nicholson. We've gone through the Grub Factor 3000, and it's time to talk about the 3-hour trip to Canberra that the three of us took on Friday to head down to see.
It wasn't 3 hours for Rob. It was an hour for you and me extra.
Oh, it's long enough. We went down to see Canberra play the St George Illawarra Dragons on Friday.
Robbed.
No issues getting tickets, which was really surprising given there's only 1,500 allowed in the ground. And I think the big part we're going to talk about here is the COVID impact as a fan. That's the real angle here. But to start with, it was a lovely trip down on Friday afternoon, wasn't it, Dave?
Yeah, it was. It was good. The radio wasn't on. We just talked the whole way down.
And I can guarantee you there's a reason I didn't hit record on that, because I didn't want to sit through 3 hours and have to edit down the same argument again and again and again and again. What did we cover?
What do you mean?
I can't remember. What did we cover?
Oh, we covered everything, didn't we? We covered a bit too much, and we said some stuff that you wouldn't be able to put in here anyway.
I don't know what you're talking about.
I think there was a lot of colourful language and expressions used, pub-style expressions. So I don't know.
The big thing we did cover was expansion and whether it was the right decision or not. And I can.
And you guys were wrong, and I was right.
That's why I didn't hit record. What I can tell you is that if you head to youtube.com/WNicholson, if you're already watching this episode now, I've finally uploaded the Brisbane second team name suggestions video.
Can't believe it.
4 weeks in the making. Well done.
About 3 weeks, I think. But yeah, it's finally up. Please check it out. I'll put a link on the YouTube clip now. Otherwise, you can get it on the YouTube channel or wnicholson.com. And neither of you two have seen it. We ran out of time before we started recording tonight, Dave, for you to watch, but you can watch it on the train tomorrow. It's about 14 minutes long, and hopefully you find it interesting. And I have made a special effort with the logo designs for the suggested team names that you may enjoy. Look, it's not super graphic design skills, but it's capable. Let's just say that. And speaking of capable, the restrictions at the ground on Friday night, they look pretty good.
The restrictions were good. I don't know if the crowd pushed the buttons too much, but we all sat our two seats apart.
It was 2 seats apart if you're with the person.
As in 2 seats in between us. So Warwick, it was me and then 2 spare seats, and then Warwick was on over there. I did notice. Do we go into that now?
Just generally, it was only 1,500 people there. Rob, you were on the ground itself. Did it look like there were many people there, or they looked very, very sparse?
It looked very bare, especially the next night I was at Bankwest, and that looked like it was a lot tighter packed. I don't know about the social distancing there, but definitely looked from where I was sitting, it looked like you guys and girls and everyone in the crowd.
Not that you could see us, Rob, just to be clear.
I couldn't see you.
Yeah, that's right. You gave him bad directions.
So Dave likes to get, if we go to a game, Dave likes to get a shot from the paparazzi, as he calls him. And so I said, now I'm asking you as listeners, if I send something to somebody, we'll call him Rob, and I say, we are sitting in a straight diagonal from the tunnel through the posts, and that's where we're sitting, and there's 1,500 people in the ground. Do you think it's possible
out the one guy
that he might be able to find out the Steelers fan sitting next to me and some niff-nuff in a Raiders beanie and hat? Do you reckon it's a chance?
Earlier, you had told him that we're going to be on the southern side.
He didn't remember that.
And we ended up
Rob,
being
how
on
did you
northern
interpret
side.
the message, mate?
I will take you to task on that. Okay.
Here we go.
That is the most brain dead description of where somebody is sitting that I've ever heard. Okay. We are sitting diagonally through the post from the tunnel.
Straight diagonal.
What is doing? Tell me what bay you're sitting in. Okay. And
Remember
tell
that.
me if you're at the northern end of the ground or the southern end of the ground.
If we had told you Bay 63, would you have known?
Yeah.
Because
Because I can see the
ground
bay numbers. Yeah, I can see the bay numbers. I would have figured out where 63 is very quickly.
Yeah.
And if you just look through the post on a straight diagonal, you would have seen us as well. There's only two options. I gave you two options. I mean, I didn't give you one option. That was the key. You need one option, don't you, Rob?
Are we allowed to show up on when you edit it later on past paparazzi photos?
No, because that just takes too much time.
Okay.
But you did touch on it as well, Rob, and Dave, I know you want to as well. Our situation was such that, look, even at halftime, we were up moving during the amazing halftime entertainment that happened. Oh, yeah, I've got a person knocking on my door. Give me a second.
We've been too loud.
Okay, we're back. Sorry, that little interlude. Give me a chance to play that Star Wars elevator music that I used to play all the time. But just random. A neighbour that used to live here 6 weeks ago just knocked on my door to ask if I was moving out. So happy days. Anyway, we're talking about the sardine factor at Bank West, guys, because where we were, we got moved on from standing at halftime.
Yeah, and it was
after
very
30
pleasant.
seconds.
It wasn't. There was no. It was fine. He just
police.
came along and just said, "Look, guys, you're not allowed to stand here."
Which
please."
is fine. We went
And
back to our
everybody
seats.
did it. It was a
and
non-event.
tried not to freeze. But at Bank West,
And my kids noticed it as well.
Mate,
They were all chocolate blocks
how did the
sitting next to
sardines
each
go,
other,
Rob?
and
Yeah, I mean, it really did look like it was fairly packed on that eastern side.
do we have official crowd numbers for both games?
Yes,
here we go.
Bankwest was 5,100,
How many were they allowed to have?
quarter of the capacity, and I think it holds 30,000.
Okay.
Okay.
So
So
up
it
to-
wasn't more than 6.
No, because they're all on the eastern side of the stadium. So
Yeah.
I would have thought they didn't seem to have too many in the top tier. I would have thought that would be safer for players to have the vast amount of people in the top tier.
Well, they try to spread them out all over, don't they? Throughout the whole grandstand.
That's the
What's
point.
that?
Not that they weren't as spread as what Rob's
They're all in
point.
the
Oh, they were
bottom
all
tier.
down the bottom, and there was none in the top.
Yeah.
Oh,
And look, the only thing that concerns me is I wasn't on the ground for that game. I was actually in the front row. They blocked out the front row of the ends of the stadium for us. And I'll tell you, I mean, there's a whole lot of yelling that goes on at footy grounds. Now they've told, you know, and I'm being serious. Scientists have told us that singing and yelling is the worst thing you can do if you're a COVID carrier, because you'll spread it a lot further. And there's people screaming like banshees behind me at the game. You know, and
is it a good look to tell the fans that you're allowed to come to a game and not?
That's irrelevant.
Not
If
not
they're
cheer?
putting the players at risk, then you got no
I
football.
don't know. I
No,
would
but
have
they're not
thought.
putting the players at risk.
Yeah, they are.
Not from the yelling from the grandstands. It's when you're
I would've-
standing next to each other and yelling and singing. And
Yeah, but they're possibly affecting everyone who's sitting around them.
Yeah.
I would have thought, given that we're going to go with quarter capacity stadiums, with not a whole lot of social distancing, that they might make people wear masks. I mean, you got to wear masks still in certain situations. I mean, yeah, I don't know.
These aren't the NRL rules though. These are like rules handed down by the.
That's
government.
what the NRL has to agree to them, though. Like that, they're the ones that.
But
And
they,
vice
but the NRL and every sporting code, I assume, will do whatever they're allowed to do. It's the government that hands down the regulations and says this is how you got to do it.
I think the government approves what the ideas are. From what I understand, the NRL will put forward an idea. The government says yes or no.
And that's the reason that the NRL's playing, is because what they put forward to the government was accepted as
Yeah. Okay.
mitigating the
Yeah.
risk.
Yeah.
So,
Fair call.
so yes, very much a case of sardines in one place and
One-
spaced in the other.
One lady before we even went in, because we had to wait, we got there a bit early, so we had to wait and we were outside. And one lady did make a good point where she said, there's hardly anyone here, and it's the first game that we're allowed it's the first home game Canberra's had or whatever. It's only 1,500 tickets. You would have thought it would have got sold out really quick. And it didn't get sold out at all. Now it is Canberra, and it was very cold.
It wasn't cold according to the locals. They reckon it was a tropical evening.
Balmy evening.
I was gonna sort of say, is that the
hypothermia
reason
at
why
one
no one
stage,
came?
didn't I?
I mean, it was a Friday night. It's a Friday night, and it's the first one that you're allowed to come back to. I would have thought a lot of people would have wanted to come.
I think that's a bit of a wake up call for a lot of things in regards to crowds and sport.
Is it because people don't want to?
I don't think
come
it's a
because of
safety
COVID?
thing.
Or is it just sport in general,
Look,
or is it?
Rob, you can have a theory.
I think it's a bit of everything, mate. I think it was what you're saying. I think it was a cool night. Okay.
It wasn't cool. It was
COVID-19. What's that?
It was really cold.
Yeah. It was a cold night, a COVID-19, and you can watch it on TV if you've got Fox for that one. So TV can keep people away. I mean, I love football. Don't get me wrong. I love football. But if I've got and I've been to a lot of football games, as you can appreciate, but if I've got the chance to sit at home and order a pizza and drink a Canadian club.
Order a pizza off Menu Log, wasn't it?
Menu Log, Canadian club, and watch it on Foxtel, I will. Because I just think it's better. I just think it's better to sit home, listen to the commentary, watch the replays, pick apart the ref's performance.
I don't know. I jump at any chance I can get to go to the footy. I love watching it at home, but I don't get to go enough as it is, and I want to be at the games far more often.
Yeah,
I love to go to the game. Actually, be at the ground so much better than watching at home.
The big games, I mean, obviously, any big games that I haven't done in the last couple of years, I've missed it when I haven't been at the game. But I don't know. Did you say, Warwick, that they only made a certain amount of tickets available, or was it the quarter stadium rule?
That was 1,500 was the limit, and they didn't.
So
I don't know for a fact if it's sold out or not, but I know that I got like tickets 2 days after they were on sale.
So what does it hold there? It holds about 15,000, doesn't it?
No. Canberra's 25, I think.
Okay, so they could have had up to 6,500.
No, that's this weekend, I believe. It has been increased, but it was only 1,500 the other night. That was the maximum.
But the very next night at Bankwest, it was 5,000.
Well, New South Wales ACT, I think, is the
you're right.
the
Yes.
difference in there. And I know that their Canberra game for this weekend against Melbourne, the way that I don't know what the figure is. I'm pretty sure it's the quarter one, but the tickets went on sale today, so it's Tuesday, to all the members who didn't go to the first game. Tomorrow is all the members who went to that game get a window, as in with the
Well,
current
that
members.
explains a fair
And then
bit.
Thursday it'll be general public. So even that alone gives you a good indication that they're not expecting to sell out. They're offering it.
So it wasn't the public that didn't go. They weren't allowed.
Yeah, it was the
It wasn't like the public said, "No, we're not going to go. We're going to stay at home and Menu Log. We can't go because we can only get 1,500 tickets."
I was surprised I could get a ticket.
Yeah, but how many members have you got?
20,000.
It should have sold out.
Anyway, but that was the road trip. It was good fun. I think we got back to Rob's place in Camden about 11:30. Got back to drop you home at 12:30. Happy days. Much for the trip. Played in Canberra that night, but and been a little bit warmer. But it was fun. Yeah. And hey, I do have a reason to go back. We can work a sponsor in here if you want to, Dave. I'll work a sponsor in here if you want to, Dave.
Let's do that. What are we doing?
Didn't I win something? Was it the
Duxton?
The Duxton.
The Duxton Hotel.
$100. $100 off a meal.
It was actually $100.
Giddy up.
$100 off a meal. How much do their meals cost?
Well, as in a gift certificate of $100.
Okay, all right.
So
$400.
next time we go there, we'll bring in my young nephew. He'll come down. If he doesn't get a feed
medium rare
and that game, he's going to be. I am going to be so unpopular because I wasn't very popular. But I didn't take him anyway. After the break, we'll go around 9 tips for Not the Footy Show episode 219. How long
fella,
called, mate?
48.
Okay, we're back. Dave Chapman's in the house. Rob Cox is over there. And it's time for our round 9 tips. It's super popular every single week. Cocksmith, I believe you had the Titans beating the Sharks last week. How'd that go for you?
Not too good. I only got 4 from 8 last week, but that's probably par for the course for my my tipping career. I'm normally a shocker. Yep. Titans made me look stupid.
Yeah, they didn't play particularly well. Sharkies 2 decent weeks back to back for them. I went 6 from 8. I missed out on the Roosters getting done by Melbourne.
And Manly, I bet.
And no, I got Manly. I got Newcastle versus Manly. I missed out on the Broncos and the Warriors.
Mhm.
Thanks, Supercoach Seabold. First mention of Supercoach Seabold, and it's like 40 minutes in. I mean, that's got to be a record given the proliferation of.
Are you proud of yourself, or are you like?
The restraint is considerable. Get to the games this weekend, and what we'll do through here is we'll discuss if there's any teams that are particularly taken our fancy. It's a barn burner. I love using that term, but barn burner Thursday night. Cowboys and Roosters. Thoughts?
How is it a barn burner?
Being sarcastic, though.
Okay, good.
Cowboys and Roosters. Well, look, the Cowboys haven't struck a match all year, have they? Really? I mean, they've done nothing. I think it's lucky that Seabold has had such a shocker this year. He's taken the pressure off Paul Green. Paul Green must just wake up on a Monday morning going, thank God for Seabold. Because the pressure's not on him.
Put that on a t-shirt and smoke it.
They've done nothing.
Mm.
Nothing.
And get this, Val Holmes on the wing.
Team. What's that?
Val Holmes on the wing this weekend.
I thought he might end up on the wing. I said that a few weeks ago, didn't I? Best winger in the world, Val Holmes. Yeah. Well, look, it's better. I guess it's better to be in North Queensland than it is to be in the NFL right now. So who knows?
Roosters by how many, Dave?
12 plus. It'll be more than that one. It'll be 18.
By plenty.
Yeah.
And there's no Boyd Cordner, there's no Daniel Tupou either. But
they'll still win.
The Roosters bring in Ryan Hall, international winger, and Mitchell Orbison, so they'll be fine. They'll put a number on the Cowboys.
Their senator has them organised and...
Yeah. Kiri, I still can't believe they lost the game the other week, actually, to be fair. Titans and Warriors. This one is Friday, the early game. I could care less. Is that the correct saying? Or I couldn't care less? I'll ask you, Dave, which one is the correct way of saying that?
I've always said couldn't care less.
That's what I thought it was.
But
the
that makes sense to the other way.
The American way is could care less.
Exactly.
The Australian way is couldn't care less. And I subscribe to the Australian way.
The Australian way. Couldn't care less.
I couldn't care less. I care so little that I couldn't care less.
That's right.
See, what we're doing here on this show is we're bringing language apart together.
Linguistics.
That's the word.
That's what we do.
Here's the thing. It is a tough one to pick, I think. That's not a straightforward pick. I mean, I'm going to go Titans, but the Warriors could do it.
I'm going Warriors.
Mm.
Put me down for a Warriors.
Yeah, put me down for the Warriors as well. I was nice to them last week.
Onion and sauce, please.
They're playing with passion.
Yeah, what's good passion if you know good. Titans, Warriors, yeah. Good luck to you if you have any real view on this game at all. Rabbitohs Tigers on Friday night. Rabbitohs have beaten up bad teams. The Tigers got woken up again by a good team. And I don't really have a preference here.
It's another one that I think is hard to pick. I'm going to go Rabbitohs, but only because of reputation from the last few years and nothing else. And it's a little bit silly going. And by the way, my tipping this year hasn't been that good. So,
the only thing I think about here is I think it's probably a playoff for 8th and 9th, ultimately for these two. And I think Souths. I like the Tigers though. I really like the Tigers as far as a team goes. I just think without Leilua, and I mean, I'm not saying that Cheekham isn't going to be able to fill the hole, but without Leilua there, and I love Harry Grant though. Who am I going to go?
He's doing really well.
I'm going to go Souths.
Right now I'm going Souths as well.
Not that I want them.
Alex Twal, if he was playing, I'd be more inclined to go with the Tigers. I think just up front, where the Tigers' advantage is, you have Twal in that mix, and I think it's better. Souths just show us something because they were very lackluster against the Bulldogs the other night.
Yep.
Sharks and Panthers. This is the Saturday 3:00 game.
Panthers.
And why Panthers, Rob? I know you want to talk about them.
Too organised, mate. I just think they're looking like a bit of a well-oiled machine. They will lose games before the end of the year. There's no doubt in my mind, because I don't know that they're the best team in the comp at the moment. or that they may not be the best team this year. But I think they're good enough, and I think that they're on the improve. I really love the look of Cleary. I've always said that. Some people think I've got a man crush on Cleary, and I don't. But I really like how cool-headed he is. I love how.
Hang on. We're talking about Nathan, because Ivan was the one that stood up and blew a kiss to the
I love them both.
on Saturday night. I wouldn't say that was cool as under pressure. That was hilarious.
Look, I mean, no, I think it was cool under pressure. He didn't blow up. Apparently the fan was giving him what for, and he just blew a kiss, which probably irritates the Tigers fans more than...
understandably, given
because,
their coach,
he was the coach for 5 minutes and left the place and signed a few people that maybe shouldn't have been signed. But hey, that's water under the bridge. I love the look of Nathan Cleary. I like how he's developing into a real good game manager and a real cool head and ability way beyond his years even now. I really like him. But everyone else, the team this year just looks more rounded with Api Coruscant there. Jerome Luai is getting better by the week.
He's good.
And I like what I saw the other night with the Tigers. There was a little bit of complacency, but they're a young team, so they're getting better and better.
Let me just throw this at you. The last 4 weeks, Penrith have blown a 10-0 lead against Para.
Yep.
Then they've beaten Melbourne in a really tough game. Accounted for South pretty well, and then they've beaten Tigers in another tough game. They've been up for 4 weeks, fully up for 4 weeks. The Sharks have just had 2 really strong wins. John Johnson's playing pretty well.
You're saying Sharks are on the improve?
No, if I'm a Panthers fan, I'm a little bit worried about this game because they've been up for 4 weeks. Is this the one where they just drop off a little bit? I mean, it's just a theory. It's not necessarily what I'm 100% believing, but it's just one of those things that you have that really strong month, and then a team like the Sharkies might be able to get you. I'm picking Penrith, but let's just be aware.
Good point. But I just think they're going to have too much class. Like I say, they're going to lose a couple of more games this year. What have we got? What are we going to do? Round 9 this week. So we've got 11 games to go, including this week of the season proper. Yeah. I don't know what their draw's like, but
Speaking
I imagine...
Speaking of teams losing, Cocksmith, Broncos and Bulldogs.
Yes.
We have 2 of the heavyweights of the last 10 years going at it. Brisbane...
Are they going to come back? Are they going to have a bounce back, or are they just going to continue to...
Mate, they've lost to the Titans and Warriors back-to-back. If they had any dreams of making the 8, they had to win these last 2 matches. They had to win this match as well. They had to win these 3 games.
I don't think they're trying to make the 8. Isn't that like a foregone conclusion?
Well, apparently you don't rebuild in Brisbane is what Steve Renouf came out this week. It's not acceptable to ever rebuild if you're the Broncos.
Yeah, well, that's been said before. They're not a rebuild kind of club.
Yeah.
I think they're going to have to...
If you find yourself in the position where you have to, you have to.
Yeah, I agree. I think the hurricane of 2020 has blown through, and they need to rebuild and restructure and restaff in some...
The biggest question coming into this match is what outfit will Anthony Seibold wear? He's tried the Colonel Mustard, no luck. He's had the plaid, no luck. He's had the white with the 4X, no luck.
He's going to do Professor Plum.
Professor Plum in the pantry with the candlestick. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, I'd love to see him in a maroon suit. I really would.
The Colonel Mustard, I think, is just the peak of fashion up there.
I would love to see that, and a felt or a velour.
Velvet.
Top
velvet.
hat.
Draped in velvet. Sorry, it's just a
large top hat draped in maroon velvet. But I don't know. We're going to see that. I think Colonel Mustard's going to be back into house.
Yeah, I think it will be as well. Who are we going? Broncos or Bulldogs, lads?
Now, listen, is Kieran Foran really doing that well?
He's playing well.
Is he lifting the team enough so that the Bulldogs are going to continue to lift and the Broncos are going to continue to slide?
You cannot fault, as far as I'm concerned, how he's playing with the players around him at the moment. He's going well, mate.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's going well, but I don't think he's going well enough to beat the Broncos. I'm going to have to go the Broncos. I know with all of that said, what we said before, I've got to go the Broncos this week.
I can't pick it. The emotion that they showed at the end of the game, I think was genuine, which sometimes it doesn't matter how hard you try, but I got a feeling that they're going to come out and pull it together. But in the face of 4 and he is lifting those Dogs. They're not playing that badly, the Dogs.
They just can't score points. That's the issue for the Dogs at the moment.
I'm going to go a draw.
Oh, wow.
Well, that's definitely not agreeing with us. I'll give you that, Dave. I'm going Canterbury. I can't pick Brisbane for the 3rd straight week against an inferior opponent. It's going to hurt me too much. So I'll take the loss if they get up. But Dogs for me. Raiders and Storms. I think it's Saturday night as well. Not easy because Melbourne played the best game of footy I've seen them play this season last week. And let's be honest, they got lucky in the win anyway.
And the opposition let themselves almost get beaten by the Dragons.
Well, 22-0. And then Dave woke up in Canberra. After that, big issues for Canberra. No Sia Soliola, no Horsburgh still. Dunamis Louis and Kay O'Donnell are the guys that have come in. Curtis Scott's now on an extended bench. Melbourne probably won't have Munster back yet, but they have, I don't know if he's dropped or injured, but Vunivalu gone.
Rob, have you been down to Melbourne lately?
Hopefully not.
No. Last year was the...
Okay. Is it
What do you
cold
want to
down in
hear?
Melbourne?
They're not playing in Melbourne. They're playing in Canberra.
I know. They're playing in Canberra where it's freezing cold, but are the Melbourneites used to freezing
They've
cold?
actually been on the Sunshine Coast. I mean, to put your
Of
weather
course.
idea
Of
into...
course. Well, Raiders, hands down.
Okay.
The cold weather, I'm telling you, it plays a part. Like, they don't move the same, and people like Corey Norman end up kicking the ball out on the full.
That was last week, mate. Rob?
Yeah.
Raiders. Raiders for mine. We had a conversation, a brief text conversation today. I think the Raiders are gone for 2020. I don't think they've got the depth to get through this year.
Like they said the Dragons were going to make the 8 this year, 2 weeks ago. But yeah.
Yeah, but that was hopeful. That was hopeful talk, mate.
Okay, sorry.
What I'm saying is without Emre Gula, without Horsburgh, without Sia Soliola,
Yeah, they've got some injuries.
I don't know that if they're going to have the firepower on the field once the whips start to crack. I mean, a couple of those might be back, but I just don't think they're going to be very fit. I like the Raiders. I do like the Raiders. Ricky and I get along fantastically these days. He didn't tell me to FO at all last week, which is very good. I did point my camera at him a couple of times and I basically loaded the gun for him and he didn't pull the trigger, thankfully. So we are officially allies. I love the Raiders. I want the Raiders to win as many games as they can. I think they'll win this week, but I don't know if they're going to win a grand final this year.
My comeback to you was around the injuries. If this happened on the eve of the semi-finals, I'm with you 100% because you can't recover from that in the space of a month. There's still 11 weeks of the season to go plus finals. If Ricky Stewart can find a way to patch those holes and the rest of the team starts playing to the level that we hope Canberra can, or I can anyway, then I'm not writing them off because this competition is no slam dunk. As much as you want to look at the Roosters and say that they are on that next level, injuries can and will happen.
Yeah, absolutely.
And no team, and before Parramatta fans kill me because we haven't mentioned Parramatta, I think it's the first time we've mentioned Parramatta and we're at the hour mark. Very proud of that one. It's not their competition. It's not their competition. You can't say you won it after 9 rounds. It's just not the way it works. So my viewpoint is if Ricky can find a way to get that forward pack to work, I didn't mind Joe Tapine in the rotation last week. He'll probably go back to lock this week, but Bateman will come back at some stage. And yeah, I actually think Canberra this weekend as well. I'm with you guys. Knights and Eels Sunday afternoon.
Where at?
This is at Newcastle. First home game for the Knights since round 1, I think.
Newcastle have been playing well, but they've not quite captured me enough to think that they're like a really great team this year. They might be on the rise and all the rest of it, but the Eels, I can't go past the Eels. They're playing so well, and I could be wrong, but I just...
Still no Mitchell Moses for Parramatta.
Of course not.
And Callum Ponga should back up after copying a head knock on the weekend. Newcastle won another game with 15 players. It's the second time this year they've done that. What are your thoughts, Rob?
Going Newcastle at home. Yeah, I'm going Newcastle just because of the Moses factor, and because it's their first game in front of what will be a reduced crowd. But I just think they might get up in front of their crowd this week.
My viewpoint is hard to back that up. And my worry with the Knights is just that physical nature of the game last weekend. Para, they rolled over North Queensland pretty easy by the end of that game.
Mm.
I know there's no Mitch Moses, but apparently King Guppo is the greatest fullback ever to walk the earth. So I'm going with Parramatta as well.
Okay.
Dragons and Seagulls. It's the final game.
Where at? Where at?
This is at Wollongong, I think.
Why is there an E there? There's no E.
I got no interest in this game at all. That's what I mean. Like eek. Oof.
Sea Eagles are going to win.
You reckon?
Yeah, the Sea Eagles are doing well. This is the thing. I think the Sea Eagles are doing better this year than Knights. They got
Disagree
more.
with that.
They got more in their side that excites me, and more potential to pull it all together to be a better side at the end of the year.
Mm.
I don't know. I'm not saying I disagree. I don't know about that. Who's missing out of the Manly side? Tommy
Still no
Turbo.
Trbojevic and
AFB.
Blake's out.
Anyone for Saints out?
No, but they've got Tarek Sims back, and Hunt will start the game at hooker, and McInnes is at lock.
I'm going to go Saints in an upset. I'm going to go Saints. Sorry, I've sometimes just got to stick with the team. You know, I'm not going to be right, but why not? I'm coming dead last in our tipping contest. So.
Panua Blake is a massive loss on the field. DCE was pretty impressive, but he couldn't do it all against Newcastle last week. And Ruben Garrett's not offering enough at fullback. There's got to do something about that. They need some sort of secondary playmaker there, especially with no Dylan Walker. But this is St George Illawarra, circa 2019, 2020. They've got all the players in the world in their team, and they still do nothing.
Yeah, you're just waiting for them to just crack it and pull it all together, and it just doesn't happen.
And I know if I pick St George, I am going to be livid with myself.
Just for picking
Just
them.
do it. Just pick him.
All right, I'll pick him.
Because Rob said so.
Yeah, because Rob said so. Because I like to agree with Rob every chance we get. We will wrap up the show here on episode 219 just in a few seconds.
Not the footy show.
Okay, we're back. Last call here on Not the Footy Show episode 219. There's been some debate in the break whether we are at 219 or 220. I think 220 is next week. Roberto, anything you want to talk about, lads? I'm opening the floor.
I think DC's got a couple of things he wants to get off his chest, and maybe one dirty thing he wants to get off his face too. But we'll see about that.
You're not watching the podcast on
That's
YouTube, you're missing out.
Come on, DC.
Look spectacular.
Unleash.
I'm dead set doing a podcast with Ned Kelly. Let's just be perfectly honest here.
Absolutely, you are. Absolutely, you are.
That's good. Ned
You
Kelly
said you
was
had
in
something
there.
to say.
He
Come
was
on.
kicking around.
Come on.
Let's go.
I'm
need
sure
some
I've got
thinking
stuff, but I don't know what it is.
Want some thinking music?
What have I got? What have I got, Wallace? Remind me.
No, he's got nothing.
He's got nothing.
I've got nothing. What?
Yeah.
am I-
Welcome back, DC. That's what I say.
That's so good. So
It's
good.
sure there's been stuff.
It's not
I'm
easy,
sure
is
there's
it? It's
been stuff.
filling time. Not that easy, is it, Dave? Not that easy.
Hey, one thing I wanted to mention,
Yes,
we
mate.
haven't really touched too much on the Bronco. We did a little bit on Seabold's outfit. Is he going to get an assistant coach? What are your thoughts? Will he get a Kearney Carney? Will he get a
Kearney.
garden gnome Walters? Who's he going to get? What's going to happen?
Can I not
Nothing?
care?
You've got nothing either.
Can I not care?
DC,
Why?
any
I
thoughts?
don't know if you can not care. Why is that not care? Like, that's worthy of caring about.
We discussed a little bit of it last week in regards to who it
Yeah,
could
but-
be, but
But
It's
I
not
think
hard
if
to
it's going to
think
happen, it's probably going to happen in the next week or two.
it'll be
Kearney,
Kearney. It'll be
Kearney
Kearney.
was cited up at Suncorp, not that night, but the night before. Not at the Broncos game, but the night before the Broncos at Suncorp. He was spotted up there watching the Melbourne Storm game in the crowd. So he is lurking around Brisbane at the moment. So I wonder. He's been an assistant coach there before, hasn't he? To Wayne Bennett, correct? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, it could well be Kearney.
Dave,
We'll see.
Yes.
You said you
probably
had something, Dave?
I can't.
What do
I can't see it being him. I just don't. Just doesn't. I've been very wrong about coaches in the past, but that will surprise me if it's him.
Mm. Mm. Who's it going to be then?
You'd like to cover. You got nothing there.
I got nothing. There should be stuff that I want to be angry about, but
You need to take notes, Dave.
Mm.
Take notes, brother.
So I said something to Rob this afternoon. I said, anything you want to cover tonight? You know what Rob said back to me?
What?
Rob?
Whatever you want.
That's not the right answer. That's basically translation for I've got like one thing and I need filler.
Yeah, but I
So
mean,
you're upset with us that we don't have enough content for you to go to
No, I'm saying you've got the opportunity and throw something. See if it sticks. Just like a Seabold game plan.
I'll tell you one
That's a
thing.
lie. Actually, that's the complete opposite of what he probably does. I reckon he's got the exact same thing on the board every single day. Payne Haas, 50 hit ups,
when you're on a good thing,
100 tackles. Sorry, mate?
when you're on a good thing, stick to it.
That's it. The Colonel Mustard. Come on, Dave.
I'll tell you one
Last
thing.
chance.
I'll tell you one thing.
Here we go. Strap yourselves in, kids.
Strap yourselves in because everyone else is wrong. We've got so much player talent that we are not going to spread ourselves thin if we expand. You are wrong about this.
Yeah, I think we're going to have to wait and see with the NRL. I think expansion is on the table, especially with Volandis there. And I think it should be on the table, but I just wonder where and how long do we have to wait?
Let me put this to you then. Under your way of thinking, what is the future of rugby league?
16 teams for the next 10 years.
For the next 20 years, for the next 30 years? Who
I didn't say
cares?
that.
Yeah, because there'll never be a stronghold. There'll never be an interest in anywhere else unless you put a team there.
Does it have to be?
Yes. There's money to be had, so yes. Proven beyond doubt by the Swans and the Lions.
Not the footy show.
Dave got something. He got
Got it off his
himself.
chest.
Pulled
He
it
doesn't
out.
look very happy. He doesn't look very happy now. He's annoyed. I can tell.
It's because the same
I
argument
just-
that he did for 3 hours on
Yeah,
the
I know.
trip down.
Is that what you were
got the
trying to
same
get at?
response. No,
Oh.
I was hoping you wouldn't even bring that up.
Oh.
But if you'd like to see what the name of the Brisbane team that I think should happen, check out YouTube because I actually did a whole video on it. It's 15 minutes long, almost as long as Dave's I've got nothing to say section at the end of the podcast right there.
Well, you got me started and
I
I had
did.
a rant. You got no one to blame but yourself.
That's
Is it
why
the
the
Brisbane
editing
Buccaneers?
software is so good.
That's why there's more DC needed in this show. You guys just agree
You
that-
decide. You let us know, people.
You need a bit more controversy, a bit more different opinion.
Mm. You agree with that, Rob?
Why not?
See, he
I'm
agrees
cool.
with
I'm
me.
down. I'm down. Whatever happens, happens.
You can get Mr. DC. Are you on Twitter at all? Like ever?
No, I've got an account, but I don't.
Okay, I'm glad I tagged it
And
today.
Instagram, who cares? What are you doing, people?
ROBBCOX over there. Now, Rob,
Yo.
we had a discussion last week, but yeah. How'd the sharing of the podcast go for you?
The what? What'd you say? The
How'd
sharing.
the sharing
Oh,
of the
I
podcast
still
go
haven't
for you
put
last
anything
week?
up. I'm going to put something up this week. Okay. You want my Instagram feed? I'll give you the password. You can litter it with.
No, I don't want it that way. I don't want it that way.
What do you want it?
Getting on Twitter and Instagram, ROBBCOX, Facebook.com/NRL podcast, and on YouTube, youtube.com/W Nicholson. On that NRL tweet, Dave, you're nowhere.
Are you wanting me to share it? Are you wanting me to get on my Twitter account and share it?
Get on
with
your
all my
Facebook
mates?
and share that you're on the episode, and tell them to really look at the last 20 minutes when you just
When I chuck a mental.
Oh,
I
you
have
went
a-
nuts. Talking about apples, the greengrocer. That's what I'm going to start calling you now.
Yes.
It's all about
Ned
the
Kelly, the
apples.
greengrocer.
How about them apples? That's
Apples
what
and
you kept
oranges.
saying. That's what I should name the podcast. How about them apples? Let me get
Yep.
some.
Those $5 apples.
You can get for $1 if you go to Gold Coast Suns because they make heaps of money. That's episode 219. Dave, pleasure to have you.
Thanks, mate.
Except for the last 15 minutes.
No, that was the best bit.
Rob, enjoy whatever the week has got in store for you, and we will. Well, I don't know when we'll have our dinner. That never happened.
We're allowed out again.
Yeah, when we're allowed out again. Hopefully, that doesn't. What's happening in Victoria doesn't
Yes.
transfer its way to New South Wales, because there is one big implication in all that, everybody. If it gets to New South Wales, rugby league is it's stopping again.
Good.
Just be aware of that. We'll speak to you next time on Not the Footy Show. Thanks, gentlemen.
Thanks,
Yeah.
mate.
Enjoy your league lovers.
Pep, sir.
Not the footy show.
G'day, league lovers. Welcome to episode 219, I believe, WD Nicholson of
Right, so
Not the
far.
Footy Show. Guess what? Mr. DC is back. I'm back, baby. Cue Mr. Costanza doing that. Now, well, we've got to introduce the other fella first.
That'd be a good start.
There's another fella here as well. What's your name? Oh, well, I'll ask him, mate. How about I start again?
That's great. That's the intro. That's absolutely
No,
the
that's,
best
that's
intro
terrible.
ever.
We'll do it again. Stop laughing.
It's people's escape, it's people's relaxation, and we need to do everything in order to continue that great tradition of
Not the footy show.
Pepsi.